In the last video, we looked at how to create a new Scratch project using the Scratch Online Editor. Now, the Scratch Online Editor requires a connection to the internet. If you want to create programs on your computer using the Scratch programming language, even when you're not connected to the internet, then this video will help you get set up using the Scratch Offline Editor. Now, the Scratch Offline Editor is what I will be using in all of the videos for this course, and also what I use to work on my own Scratch projects, because I love to be able to program even when my connection to the internet isn't that good. However, the Scratch Offline Editor has exactly the same features as the Scratch Online Editor. So no matter which one you use, you'll be able to do the exact same things. So in order to download the Scratch Offline Editor, first open your web browser and go to this URL, scratch.mit.edu/download. And you can see that that is the URL I'm at right now in the address bar. So the page should look something like this. And I will include a link to this page in the resources for this video. The Scratch Offline Editor will work on most operating systems or most computers. It will run on Mac, it will run on Windows, and it will run on Linux. It will not run on any computers based on Chrome OS or Android or iOS. So if you have a computer or device that runs one of those operating systems, then you won't be able to use the Scratch Offline Editor. If you're not sure what kind of operating system or what kind of computer you have, either find a friend who might be able to tell you what kind of operating system you have, or send me a message and I'll help you figure out what version of Scratch you should download. So once we're on this web page, we just scroll down a little bit and we see that Scratch has these 3 steps here for us to follow. So the first step is to download Adobe Air, which helps us run the Scratch Offline Editor. So download whichever version of Adobe Air is right for your operating system and follow the installation instructions that Adobe Air gives you. Once you're done installing Adobe Air on your computer, come back to this page and go on to the second step, downloading the Scratch Offline Editor itself. To download the Scratch Offline Editor, find the operating system that you have on your computer and click on the download link for your operating system. Save and run the installation file that it asks you to save, and then follow the instructions that the Scratch Offline Editor installer gives you to install the Scratch Offline Editor on your computer. Once you install the Scratch Offline Editor on your computer, you should have a little Scratch icon that appears on your desktop. To run the Scratch Offline Editor, double-click on that icon. So this is the Scratch Offline Editor. And the Scratch Editor opens up with a mostly blank Scratch project. All it has is this Scratch cat in the middle of it. Throughout this course, we'll learn about a bunch of different things that you can add to this project to make it cool and make it do the things that you want it to do. So let's say that you've made some changes to this project and it's super cool and awesome now, and you want to save it so that you can close your computer and come back to work on this project later. Well, if you want to save your project and save the work that you've put into your project, first, go to the File menu, which is the menu right next to the Scratch logo. It says Scratch right here, and then to the right of that, it says File. Click on this File menu, and then click on the Save button. And the Save button will open up a Save dialog. So if you're using a different operating system, your Save dialog may look a little bit different. But you should be able to select a folder on your computer that you would like to save your Scratch project under. So I like to save my projects under the Documents folder, so I'm going to go there, and under the Scratch Projects folder. So I'm going to double-click on the Scratch Projects folder under my Documents folder. And you can see that I already have a Scratch project in here. So this is what a Scratch project looks like when it is in your Scratch Projects folder. Now, in order to save your Scratch project into this folder, go down to where it says File Name and type in a name for your project. So I'm going to call this project my first Scratch project. And if you don't like your project name, you can always rename it later the same way that you would rename any file on your computer. But once you've thought of a good name for now, type it in here and then click on the Save button. And you can see once we click on the Save button, our project name appears in the top left corner of the screen above the stage, which we'll learn about in the next video. And now whenever we make changes to our project in the future, if we want them to stick around in that project, we need to go up to File and click on Save again. And every time we click on Save, any changes that we've made since the last time we clicked on Save will be stored in that file on our computer. Now, let's say that you're done working for the day and you close down your computer and you open it the next day. How do we get back to this Scratch project that we created? Well, let's take a look at the steps that we need to do to get back to this Scratch project. So here I am on my desktop. I've closed out of the Scratch offline editor. In order to get back into the project that I created, I need to first double-click on the Scratch icon, or open Scratch in whatever way you like to open Scratch. So I'm going to double-click this. And then you'll see that our program isn't open right now because the name of our program isn't in the top left corner here. So that's how you can tell which program is open in the Scratch editor. In order to open the program we were just working on, we need to go up to the File menu again. So click on File. And now click on the Open button, where it says Open. When I click on this button, the Open dialog will come up. So I'll click here, and here is the Open dialog. Now, from this dialog, I can again go to any folder on my computer and find the Scratch project that I was just working on. So I remember that I saved it under Documents and under the Scratch Projects folder under Documents. But wherever you saved your Scratch project, you should go to that folder and look there. So I'm going to look in the Scratch Projects folder. And here I see my first Scratch project up here. So I'm going to click on it. And after I've clicked on it, I'm going to click the Open button. So I click Open. And now you see that in the top left corner of the screen, it says My First Scratch Project. So I know that that's the project that I'm working on. This is the same project that I saved just a minute ago. So congratulations! You've successfully created your very first Scratch project. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and start watching the first Level 1 video, where we'll learn how to give some of the first commands to our Scratch project.